Hello everyone, we have to discuss about the IS Power Test Series 2020. Question number first. With reference to global and consortiums and for government of digital currency, consider the following statement. किसके रिस्पेक्ट में है? The consortiums and bill aims and for the increasing access to the financial systems and through the inclusive innovation and interoperation policy solution. द ग्लोबल कंसोर्टियम एंड फॉर डिजिटल करेंसी गवर्नमेंट होती है, बिल एम है उसका फॉर इंक्रीजिंग एक्सेस टू द फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम को एंड थ्रू द एक्सक्लूसिवली इनोवेशन को इन इंटर ऑपरेबल्स पब्लिक पॉलिसी सॉल्यूशन को इनिशिएटिव्स एंड एम एंड टू द ब्रिंग टुगेदर लीडिंग कंपनीज and financial institution, government representation and technicals, expert and academic international organization, NGO and the members of the forum communication communities on other global level. जो वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम रहती है WEF हैज अनाउंस्ड करती है द फर्स्ट ग्लोबल कंसोर्टिज्म एंड फोकस्ड ऑन डिजिटल करेंसी एंड गवर्नमेंट इंक्लूडिंग द स्टेबल्स एंड कॉइन्स. क्वेश्चन नंबर सेकंड. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट मॉडिफाइड आर्टिकल्स 312 टू इंक्लूड एन ऑल इंडिया जुडिशियल सर्विस. ऑल इंडिया जुडिशियल सर्विस के रिस्पेक्ट में 42 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट एक्ट है. आफ्टर द सावरन सिंह कमेटी रिकमेंडेशन कर रही थी इन 1976 में आर्टिकल 312 एंड वाज द मॉडिफाइड बाय द 42 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट एक्ट है इन 1977 टू प्रोवाइड करता है फॉर एंड द ऑल इंडियन जुडिशियल सर्विसेज को AIJS को. ऑल इंडिया जो सर्विसेज जुडिशियल सर्विसेज रहती है AIJS उसका एम रहता है इट क्रिएटिंग सेंट्रलाइज्ड क्रिएट एंड ऑफ एंड द डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स एंड जजेस एंड हु विल बी द रिक्वायर्ड रहती है रिक्वायर्ड एंड द सेंट्रली थ्रू एंड ऑल इंडिया एग्जामिनेशन एंड allocation and to each state and along and the lines and of and the no all Indian services AIS. Question number 3. Consider the following pairs. द घाटप्रभा रिवर इज ट्रिब्यूटरी ऑफ द कृष्णा रिवर्स एंड दैट फ्लो इन कर्नाटका में होता है. द इंद्रावती एंड रिवर इज स्ट्रीम ऑफ द रिवर गोदावरी की है. द कबिनी एंड द रिवर इज वन ऑफ द मेजर ट्रिब्यूटरीज ऑफ द रिवर कावेरी इन साउथर्न इंडिया. क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. येलो एंड प्रोक्यूमेशंस का एम होता है टू प्रोटेक्ट एंड प्रमोट विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग्स लिंग्विस्टिक डाइवर्सिटीज को. जो EU प्रोक्लेमेशन होता है इज अ डॉक्यूमेंट रहता है ऑन द प्रोटेक्शंस एंड द प्रमोशन ऑफ वर्ल्ड लिंग्विस्टिक डाइवर्सिटीज का. येलो प्रोक्लेमेशन रहता है वाज एडॉप्टेड करता है एट द फर्स्ट एंड इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन लैंग्वेज रिसोर्सेज एंड प्रोटेक्शंस इन चंगसा एंड सेंट्रल चाइना एंड हुनन एंड द प्रोविंस इन 2018 बाय यूनेस्को. Question number 5. India and first and the super and Fave and Live and Baz inaugurated करता in which of the following cities को. कौन सी को? कोची को. On January 25, 2020 and India is the first and super and Fave Live Baz inaugurated करता in Kochi, Kerala. The laboratory is to and the functions in the laboration and with and the Moso set and institution of the technology MIT and USA. It is only at the laboratory that is being and the installed and outside and US the super and FabLab is being and the installed in the collaboration and with and the Kusums and Kerala setups mission. Question number 6. Which of the following currency based? पटोला साड़ी गुजरात की होती है. धानु एंड जत्रा उड़ीसा का होता है और लाल लई एंड द हरोबा त्रिपुरा की. क्वेश्चन नंबर 7. बर्कटाका डायनेस्टी वाज सेपरेटेड ओवर विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेट. बर्कटाका डायनेस्टी किसको सेपरेटेड करती है? डी ऑल ऑफ का. आंध्र प्रदेश, महाराष्ट्र, मध्य प्रदेश, गुजरात, छत्तीसगढ़. द बागटाका ब्रांच ऑफ द डायनेस्टी कंटिन्यूड until the end of the reigns of the Prithvi Senas and second in the 480 CE since no son and or and the daughters of this and kind is now to have and the succeed him. The leadership passed on to the king and Hari Senas of the Wasim and the branch and by the times and Hari Senas indeed in the 510 CE. The Paktakas and empires and was its and the Janij and coverings Andhra Pradesh, Andhra and Maharashtra and most and the Chhattisgarh. The dynasty and was even larger than it has been under the Prabhar Sena first. क्वेश्चन नंबर 8 सर्वेंट्स ऑफ एंड द पीपल्स एंड सोसाइटी वाज फाउंड की गई थी किसके द्वारा लाला लाजपत राय के द्वारा इन 1921 ही फाउंड एंड द सर्वेंट ऑफ द पीपल सोसाइटी अ नॉन एंड प्रॉफिट वेलफेयर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इन Lahore which shifted and it is the base and to the Delhi and after the partitions and has and branches in many and the part of India. Question number 9. Desrati and the Satakam and was written by किसके द्वारा कंचला and गोपान्ना के द्वारा Satakam is other Telugu Bhakti and the Satakam is the popular forms of the Telugu and poetry. It was written by the Bhakta and the Ram Deshu and the Kancharlas and the Gopannas and during the 17th century. It is consist of the 104 and poems and Desrathi means son of the Desratha who is incredible Vishnu Rama. Question number 10. Consider the following statement with respect to the Sena, Sena and Spiritabile. It has and become other innovations and alliance species होती of India की it is and the native to the South and Central America का. The Sena Spiritabile and is other plant and species and of and the legume and the families and Fabaceae and the sub and families जो रहती हैं Cices and pine these and native and to and the South and Central America. It has become and the initiative and species in Nilgiri and biosphere reserve की रहती है. Invasives and species in regions रहता है eucalyptus and tea and plantation and metals and neutralized species like lens, antenna and camera and optia, strata and chromela or odora, etc. Question number 11. With reference to the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion NSFL. Consider the following statement. It is released by the नीति आयोग. ये रिलीज की गई थी नीति आयोग के द्वारा. The strategy aim and to the strength the economics ecosystem and for and the various modes of the digital financial services in all and the tier 2 and to the tier 6 center and to the creation the necessary infrastructure to the move towards a less case and society by the March 2022. National Strategy for the Financial Inclusive NSFIN is other released in by the Reserve Bank of India and 2019 and 2024. Some of the other objective in and the NSFI. Every adult has and had and the access to the financial services provider. So other divided by the March 2004. Question number 12. The 1 trillion and treason initiative was launched किया गया था recently by which of the following किसके द्वारा लॉन्च किया गया था वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम WEF के द्वारा. The 1 trillion and trees initiative is launched किया गया था by World Economic Forum in its and the 2020 and meeting and to grow and the restore and the conserve 1 trillion and trees across the world and by the 2013. It is also aim रहता है it and the unifying and government NGO business and the individuals and in the mass skills natures and the restoration. The global initiative it and the restoring biodiversity and health, fight climate change. Question number 13. India signed the Migration and Mobility Partnership Agreement with which of the following? France. Migration and the Mobility and Partnership Agreement between किसके बीच में रहता है इंडिया एंड फ्रांस के बीच. Aim at the enhancing pupils to pupil contest and for fostering mobility of the student and academic researchers and skilled professional between the India and France. Question number 14. Consider the following statement about TrueNet test. TrueNet test किस रिस्पेक्ट में है? इट इज एन द इंडिजिनस मोलिकुलर डायग्नोस्टिक टूल्स रहता है फोर ट्यूबरक्लोसिस एंड डायलॉग्स का रहता है. इट इज एन द पॉलीमेकर्स चेन रिएक्शन रहता है. PCR एंड बेस्ड टेस्ट रहता है विच कैन एंड आल्सो द डिटेक्टेड ड्रग रेसिस्टेंस एंड विद द यूज ऑफ चिप्स. जो ट्रू नेट एंड टेस्ट रहता है इस एंड द इंडिजिनस मॉलिक्यूल्स डायग्नोस्टिक एंड टूल्स रहता है फॉर द ट्यूबरक्लोसिस एंड द diagnostics and it was and the developed by and the Goa and the based and Molbius and the diagnostic and which and the WHO and indoor said and recent and TrueNet is the polymerase and chain reaction and PCRs and based test and then by assaying and the genes and presented and the TB bacteria cannot only the detected the presence of the bacteria but can the also detect drug and resistance with the use of the chips. Consider the following pairs is correct. Mogalwari is the Buddhist and monastic side of the early and the medieval period in West Bengal and the Paschim and the Manipur and districts. Bhujan Konda and the Lingumetas and the monasteries and thus are the twine and rock and cut and the Buddhism monasteries and eight and the Sankrams and the villages in Visakha and Patnams and Andhra Pradesh and they did and make over to the 3rd and century BC. Question number 16. Consider the following statement with respect to the mission innovation. It is a global initiative and often the 24 countries and the European Union to the acceleration global clean energy innovation रहता है. It was launched की गई थी during the 2015 United Nations Climate Change Conference COP21 के द्वारा. जो मिशन इनोवेशन वाज अनाउंस किया गया था ऑन द नवंबर 30 2015 एंड ड्यू टू एंड द पाइनिंग एंड द इफेक्ट एफोर्ट रहता है एंड बाय द इंडिया एंड फ्रांस एंड यूएसए एंड एज द वर्ल्ड एंड लीडर्स. वर्ल्ड लीडर्स Question number 17. The corruption and the perceptions. The corruption perceptions and tax is brought किया गया था out of by the Transparency Internationals के द्वारा. The corruptions and perceptions and index CPI is an and the index published and usually by the Transparent and International since 1995 and with ranges rank countries and by their and the perceived and levels of the public sector's corruptions as determined by the expert assessment and the opinions survey. Question number 18. Which of the following statement is most inappropriate with respect to the Jews and jacking? B. It is other type and often the cyber attacks and involving other charging and port and that and the double dead is other data and correction connections and typically over the USB. Jews and jacking is other type of the cyber and attack and involving other chargings and port. There the double as other data and connection typically over USB. This often an involvement either the insulations. N. Chandrasekharam and the committee was constituted की गई थी to look into the किसके में artificial intelligence के में एन चंद्रशेखरन कमेटी कमिटेड की गई थी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एंड बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ द डिफरेंस एंड टू द स्टडी यूज एंड द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ द आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस AI इन द मिनिस्ट्री. Question number 20. Consider the following statement. Lithium and the sulfur and the lithium and the battery then store the considerably and more energy, and then the lithium and ions and leons and batteries and lithium and batteries then are the generally considered to be the successors of and the leons batteries because of their the lowest and cost of the production energy and efficiency and improved. Theoretically, lithium and the sulfurs and batteries and are the capable of the holding and up and to the 5 times and more the energy and then the lithium ion coils. Question number 21. Which of the following organization released under the Women Business and the Law Report 2020? वर्ल्ड बैंक के रिस्पेक्ट में है. द वुमन बिजनेस एंड द लॉ रिपोर्ट 2020 इज द 6th एडिशन ऑफ द रिपोर्ट एंड वाज द वर्ल्ड बैंक एंड टू द एनालाइज करता है द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ द लॉ एंड द रेगुलेशन लीगल जेंडर्स क्वालिटी ऑन द वुमन इकोनॉमिक अपॉर्चुनिटीज एंड इन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड 190 इकोनॉमिक्स. किसके रिस्पेक्ट में सही है? अल एंड असद एंड द एरबिल मिलिट्री बेस्ड एंड आर द लोकेशन इन इराक में होती है. लूमू टाउन इज सिचुएटेड ऑन द कोस्ट ऑफ द केन्या में होता है. सिरटे इज अदर सिटी इन द लिबिया में होती है, लोकेटेड ऑन द मेडिटेरियन कोस्ट होती है, एंड द त्रिपोली इन द लिबिया. क्वेश्चन नंबर 23. कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट अबाउट द मिगर क्रोकोडाइल. किसके रिस्पेक्ट में? इट इज फाउंडेड इन द फ्रेश वाटर हैबिटेट एंड आल्सो इन द कोस्टल एंड सल्ट वाटर्स एंड लेगून एंड द एस्चुरीज है. The mugger crocodiles is an and the egg and the lyings and whole and the nesting and species. It is the mainly and the restricted and to and the Indian subordinate found in other numbers of the freshwater habitat and type the including and the rivers and lake and the marshes and also in the coastals and the salt water and the lagoon and estuaries. IUCN stated one rivers and it is the protected and under the schedules 1 and of the Wildlife Protection Act in 1972. The Jew and the Kutbul and is the festival of which of the following tribes and Mizo tribe. जो कुतुबुल इस फेस्टिवल होता है जो सेलिब्रेटेड किया जाता है बाय द डिफरेंट एंड मिजो ट्राइब्स एंड इज एन द अटेम्प्ट टू द यूनिफाइड एंड द strengthen the brotherhood and among the various and Mizo tribes and living in the different part of the world and Mizorams and the government and believe the organizing and Joe and Kutpai in it and the listed 10 states across India and the country and such as the US and the Myanmar and Bangladesh. Question number 25 with references to the Northeast Gas and Grid project, which of the following statement is not correct? No, it is implemented by the Gas Authority of India and Ltd GAIL. Northeast Natural Gas and Pipeline Grid is under 1656 kilometer pipeline is connected in Guwahati in Assam and to the major cities in the region such as and the Itanagar and the Dimapur and Kohimas and the Impal and Ajawal and Agartalas and covering and all and the 8 states in the northeastern region. The project is critical and towards and the implementing and the government and hydrocarbons and vision in 2013 and for the northeast and the Indra and the Dhanush and gas and grid limitation in IGGLA the joint and the ventures and companies of the 5 and CPSE IUCL and the ONGC GAL oil implementation agency. Question number 26. Consider the following statement. The FRRON schemes and has been implemented करती on the immigration visa in foreign register and tracking. The IVF RTN platform. The Bureau of the Immigrations and Wall, and it is under and the aegis of the Ministry and of the Home Affairs and the FRRO. Scheme का aim होता है aid the building a the centralized transparent online platform and the foreigner to the avoid करता है the visa related services को and to provide करता है cashless को and paperless को. Which of the following is correctly matched? Paper in places in news and country. अजडोड होता है इजराइल में होता है, ताल एंड बेलग्रो कहाँ पे होता है, फिलीपींस में होता है, एंड बल हुमायल मालदीव पे होता है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 28. सयूल केजिन is a joint exercise between the coast and guard of India and जापान के बीच में की गई है. The aims behind the Sahyog Kijin and is and to the strengthen the bond and between the India and Japan. Question number 29. The terms and reciprocating and territories and of India and was in the new and the recently and the consider the following statement. ये रहता है the scope of the terms and flow and from and the code of the civil procurement. The definition, explanations and scopes of the reciprocating and territories and of an India's flow and from the section and 44A of the Code of the Civil and the Procedures 1908. क्वेश्चन नंबर 13. एंड रेस किलिंग्स एंड द रेवोल्यूशन इज एंड द इनिशिएटिव रहता है किसके वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम के में. इंडिया ऑन एंड द Wednesday and joint and as other founding and the government and members and the World Economic Forum and the race killings and revolution and the initiative to the provide 1 billion and pupils and with and the better education skills and the job and by the 2030 जो स्कीम की एम रहता है and to and the futures and proof and workers from the technological changes and the help economics and by the providing and new skills and for the fourth and the industries revolution. Question number 31. Consider the following statement about the Bureaus of Energy and Efficiency BE. It is the statutory body and the established and under the Energy and the Consumers and Act and 2001. The Bureaus of the Energy and Efficiency and BEE is the statutory and the body under the provision of the Energy and Conservation and Act 2001 and under the Ministry of Power. The state energy जो रहती है efficiency index रहता है ट्रैक करता है उसका the process of and the energy efficiency. EE and the initiative and the state and the union territories and based on the 97 and significant indicators. Question number 32. Which of the following statement and about the International Maritime Organization IMO is not correct? None of them. इनमें से कोई नहीं. The International Maritime Organization IMO is the global standard settings and authority and for the safety and security and the environmental and performance of the international shipping. It is main and the role is to and the create other regulatory and the framework. Question number 33. Recently seen in news and the bio-rock on the minerals and the acceleration technology is related रहती है and with which of the following? कोरल रीफ एंड रेस्टोरेशंस के लिए रहती है. द जूलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया एंड JSIN विद एंड द हेल्प फ्रॉम द गुजरात एंड फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट इज एंड द अटेम्प्टिंग एंड फॉर द फर्स्ट एंड टाइम द प्रोसेस एंड टू द रेस्टोर्स एंड द कोरल रीफ्स एंड यूजिंग द बायोरॉक्स एंड और एंड द मिनरल्स एंड द एक्रेशंस. Technologies. Question number 34. Cyber cafe. द साइबर एंड सेफ एंड वुमेन इनिशिएटिव्स लॉन्च किया गया था बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग, किस गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा? महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा। जो महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट लॉन्च करती है साइबर सेफ एंड वुमेन इनिशिएटिव, महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट हैज लॉन्च करती द साइबर सेफ वुमेन इनिशिएटिव अंडर द विच एन अवेयरनेस एंड कैंपेन विल बी द होल्ड करती अक्रॉस ऑल द डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स ऑफ द स्टेट रिगार्डिंग साइबर सेफ्टी के लिए। क्वेश्चन नंबर 35। Question number 35. With references to the Lila Benbu Kudini and the consider the following statement and be and the it acted and as and the emulated and the immune moderations. First and the Nivir and the Biculiars is other Siddha and medicines and recommendation for the conceptions. Question number 36. Consider the following statement and with respect to the Global Relief Forum. Global Relief Forum के respect में the first and the Evers and Global Refugees and Forums was held की गई थी in Geneva, Switzerland में. It was the organized by the government of the Costa Rica and Ethiopia and Germany and Turkey and in the partnership and with and the UN High and the Commission for the Refugees. The first ever and global refugees forum जो रहती है took places and from the 17 and 18 December 2019 in Geneva, Switzerland में. The event was organized किया गया था and by the government of the Costa Rica and the Ethiopia, Germany and Pakistan and Turkey in the partnerships and with and the UN and High and the Commissioner and for the refugees UNHCR and it was and the co-hosted by the government of Switzerland. Question number 37. Consider the following statement with respect to the carbodum. D. It is either semi and the conductors and it is other desirables mirrors and materials and for the astronomical telescopes and it can be used किया गया था in the production of and the graphene को. Silicon carbide SiC जो रहती है also known as and the carbon drum and is other semi and the conductor containing silicons and carbons को it is occur करती in the nature is other extremely and rare and minerals and the moissanite को the low and the thermals and the expansions and coefficient and high and the hardness rigidity and the thermal and conductivity and make and the silicons and carbide either desirables and mirrors and material for the astronomical telescope. Question number 38. Yara Bubba in creation was in news and recently and where it is located in the Australia. The Yara Bubbas and the creation is and the impact and structure the eroded and remnanted and of other former impact रहता है creators and situation in and the northern Ilgarn and Cretons and near and the Yara and the Bubba and station between the towns of the Sandstone and the Mika-Thiras and mid and the west and western Australia. It is the eighth and the oldest known and impact structures. Question number 13. Which of the following sector has the received maximum allocations under the National Infrastructure Pipeline NIP road? Question number 14. New and the emergency strategy technologies and NEST is under the aegis of Ministry of External Affairs. The Ministry of the External Affairs announced की गई थी the setting up of the new and the emergency and strategic technology. नेस्ट के द्वारा डिवीजन के द्वारा this bill and the took into and the issues and pertaining to new and the emergency and technology and will help in the collaboration and with the foreign partners in the field of the 5G and artificial and intelligence and which are in the line and with and the Indian security goal. Question number 41. Recently, RBI has and the revised the supervisory and action and the framework SAF for and the placing and restrictions on and which of the following? Urban and the Cooperative Bank. जो RBI has and the revised रहती है the supervisory and the action and frameworks जो रहता है and SAF and for the urban cooperative and bank and UCBS SAF and is other similar to and the prompt and the cooperative action PCA जो रहता है इसका framework रहता है which is implemented commercial bank. Consider the following pairs is matched. दैन्यगंगा और तिपेश्वर वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी कहाँ पे होती है? महाराष्ट्र में होती है। नत्रावती एंड महादई एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी गोवा में होती है। Which of the following spares is home and the port of the aircraft and carriers INS and the विक्रमादित्य? किसमें होती है? करवार में होती है। INS विक्रमादित्य is modified and cube and class aircraft carriers and it was built in 1987 and had the sub and the Soviet Navy and named as the Baku. It was then the letters and renamed and the admirals and the Gorskov under the Russia and Navy. The vessels and can and the carry and more than and the 30 long ranges and multi and roll and fighters and with and the anti-ships, missiles, air to air missiles and guides and bomb and the rocks. It was the retrofitted and with other Barak and the missile system and joint and development and with Israel. It is the based and its and the home port at the Karvars in Karnataka. Consider the following statement. They are only and the deliberative and the adversary and bodies and the unions and home ministers and is and the chairmen of all the zonal councils. The Zonal Council are the statutory and not the constitutional body and established by the State and Recognition Act of the 1956. The act जो divided रहता है the country and into the 5 zones and the north and central and eastern and western and southern and provided a zonal council and 4 and the each zone are the northern eastern and council and was created by the separation out of the parliamentary and the northeastern council and act of the 1971. Question number 45. Consider the following an statement about the yellow rust. Yellow rust के रिस्पेक्ट में कौन सा स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है? It is affected the beet crop. इसका इफेक्ट बीट क्रॉप पे पड़ता है. जो yellow rust is other fungals and the diseases bear the yellow and the strips of power or the dust and appears on the leaves and the leaf she held and off and the beet crops. This occurs and when the fungi and the colonies in and the leaves and drains and the carbohydrate from the plant and the reduce the green and leaf and areas the diseases and affected crop development and the estuary and the yield and 5 से लेकर 30%. Question number 46. Consider the following statement with respect to the Indian data relay satellite system and IDRS. IDRSS bill and the maintained the continuous and the communication link and with the Indian remote and sensing Earth observation and other the satellites in low orbit Earth. IDRSS and satellites and would be the launch and on and the GSLV launch into the geostationary orbit. As part of and its proposed and the managed and spaces and missions India and will launch किया गया था the India and data relay satellites को IDRS को. Question number 47. Consider the following statement with respect to the Piero cumulus and columns. Piero cumulus columns. It is the type of the cumulonimbus columns clouds and that the forms about other source of heat. Paracumulus clouds are the essential other thunderstorms and they are the forms and the form the smokes and plum में रहती है of other fire as the intense and heat and for other fires and the causes and air to rise and repeatedly and the drawing and in and the cooler airs. Question number 48. Consider the following statement. B. Constitution obligation the state government and to ensure the implementation of the laws and made by the parliament according to the constitution and center and is to and the prevalence over and the state and the event and of any and the inscription between the central and the state legislation के articles 249 empower करता है the parliamentary to make and law and even and on and the states and station subject in the national interest under the articles and 251 and the 254 and the central and is to be and the prevail over the states and the event of any and the conspiracy and between the central and the state legislation. Article 256 of the constitution obligation the state and government to the ensure implementation of the law made by the parliament. Which of the following is not the declared and a the public health emergency of the international international concern according to the World Health Organization. B. 2018 Nipah virus. A public health emergency of the national concern and is other formals and the declaration and by the World and the Health Organization WHO of an extraordinary event and which is the determined and to the constitute other public and health and risk and to the other state and through and the international spread of the diseases and to potential require other coordination international response. स्वदेशी एंड स्टीम नेविगेशन कंपनी SSNC बस लॉन्च की गई थी किसके द्वारा बीओ एंड द चिदम्बकुलम एंड पिल्लई के द्वारा. क्वेश्चन नंबर 51 recently 10 and the wetland and from the India and where and the edited to the list of the wetland of the international importance with reference to the Ramsar and site in India and consider the following statement and see. With a new and the political additions, new addition and the total and Ramsar sites in India and increase and to the 36. All southern and eastern accepted करती है and the Goa and the Telangana and has and the at least and one and the Ramsar site in India. Ramsar Convention is formally and the now as the convention and on and the wetland of the international importance especially is the water flow and the habitat and the Ramsar and convention and has to the fold and the objectives and views convention and the sustainable and the utilization of the wetland and the stop and the encroachment and the loss of wetland the 10 and the new and the Ramsar sites are Nandur and the Madheshwars and is the first and four Maharashtra and Kosapur Marai and Bees Conservation Reserve and Nangals in Punjab and Duabang Parvati Agra and the Suman and Samaspur and Sandi and Sarsai and the Nawar in UP में. Question number 52 the bird and economic situations and perspective WESP and report is other annual publication of UN United Nations. United Nations, the World Economic Perspective WESP and the report is and the annual UN and the flagship and the publication on and the state and of and the World Economic the terms and the drosphere and seen in the news and is a models and the organism and the research. The fifth edition. The fifth edition of the Asias and the Pacifics and the Drosophila and conference was held की गई थी at the Pune. It is the being organized and in the country and for the first time and by the Indian Institution of Science, Education and Research Pune. It is the biennials and the conference and it is the aim to the promote the interactions of the Drosophila and the researchers and in the Asia Pacific regions and with and there and the pairs and in the rest of and the world. Question number 54 and consider the following statement about the Blue Dot network. It is the multi and the stakeholders. Stakeholder initiative रहता है to bring together in government and the private sectors and the civil and society. Explanation Blue Dot and the network is other multi and the stakeholders and initiative to bring together government, the sectors, private and sector and the civil society to promote करती high the quality and the trusted the standard and for the global infrastructure development and the BDN was formally and announced on the 4th and the November 2019. Consider the following pairs. संग्रीला डायलॉग, संग्रीला डायलॉग कहाँ पे है? संग्रीला डायलॉग चाइना में। एंड सागर माता संवाद कहाँ पे हुई थी? बांग्लादेश में हुई थी। तो रेसिम एंड डायलॉग ऑफ द इंडिया इज एंड द डिजाइन किया गया था ऑन द लाइन एंड ऑफ एंड द सिंगापुर संग्रीला डायलॉग्स। रसीना डायलॉग 2020 इज अदर मल्टी एंड द लेटरल्स एंड कॉन्फ्रेंस एंड कमिटी टू द एड्रेस की गई थी द मोस्ट एंड द चैलेंजिंग इश्यूज ऑन फेसिंग ग्लोबल कम्युनिटी हेड एंड Sagar Mata and the Sambad and is and the initiative of and the government of the Nepal and to the hosted other permanent and beneficiaries and the global dialogues starting and from the 2020. It is the multi and the stakeholder and dialogues and forums and the committed and to and the deliberated on the most and prominent and the issues and of and the globals and regionals and the national significant. The 56 and the Leos Pera and the index is associated with किसके रिस्पेक्ट में होता है? कंज्यूमर प्राइस इंडेक्स के में। Leos Pera index and is other methodology and to the calculated the consumers price index and by the measurings and the changing in the price and of and the basket and of and the goods and to and the base year. द शत्रुघ्न एंड द चौहान एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट एंड जजमेंट एसोसिएटेड करता है किसमें? एसोसिएट करता है मार्सी एंड द पिटिशन में। In the Strigas and the Chauhan and case and the rejections of the March petition and by the president and was the challenges on and the grounds on open the UDOR and delay in the disposals and of and the there and March petition and mental and the illness and the solitary confidence and is and the supervising and ground the undue and the delay and by the president in the rejecting and March and to other death and draw and the convict amount and to the totals. Question number 15. Consider the following statement with respect to the Organization for the Prohibition of and the Chemical Weapons and OBCW. The OBCW and has the powers and to the stay and whether the chemical weapons and were used and the attack and it has and the investigated. The OPCW and with its and the 9193 and the members and the state and the has and its and the seat and the Hawaii and Netherlands and the overseas the globals and the indigenous and for and the permanent and the verification and elimination of the chemicals and weapons. The organization is not and the emergency of the United Nations and but and the operation. Question number 59. Consider the following statement with respect to the Biological Weapon Convention. किसके रिस्पेक्ट में होता है बायोलॉजिकल वेपन कन्वेंशन? Neither one nor to the convention and on and the prohibitions and of and the development production and the stock peelings and of and the bacterials and or and the toxin weapons and on and the destructions and was the first mile Tal and the Chapar and sanctuary is located in the Rajasthan में located है. The Tal Chapar and sanctuary is other sanctuary is located in Rajasthan, in the Cheru and the districts of the northwestern Rajasthan. With reference to the national e-Vidhan and the application and NEVA and projected, consider the following statement. NEVA and is other mission and mode project रहती to the digitize करती the functionings and of and the state legislations in the India the ministry of the parliamentary and affairs and is on the nodal ministry for its the implementations. नेवा का एम रहता है टू द मेक एंड ऑल एंड द लेजिस्लेशन ऑफ एंड द कंट्री एंड पेपरलेस बाय मेकिंग द proceedings and of and the house digital and NEVA is other mission and mode project MMP included in the digital India and programs of the Ministry of the Parliament and Affairs and MOPA is other nodal and ministry and of its and the implementation in 31 state. Question number 62. Consider the following statement with respect to B and the it is and the endemics and to and the South Africa. Marians and the otter is other categorized and as the indigenous and by the IUCN and the marine and otters and has other restricted and the distributions and along and the Pacific coast and from and the northern and Peru and along the Chilean and the coast and to the Cape and Cape Horn and the Isla and Delos and the in the maritime otter is other endemic and to and the South America and it is the generally found in the regions of Argentina and Chile and Peru. Question number 63 which of the following statement is regarding and the होजागिरी होजागिरी किसके रिस्पेक्ट में होती है डी नाइदर वन नॉट टू जो होजागिरी इज अदर फोक डांस होता है परफॉर्म किया जाता है इन द स्टेट ऑफ द त्रिपुरा बाय द रैंग एंड ग्रुप पीपल्स के द्वारा द डांस इज द परफॉर्मेड बाय द वुमेन्स एंड द यंग गर्ल्स के द्वारा इन अ टीम मैन सिंगिंग डांसिंग बैलेंसिंग ऑन एंड द अर्थ पिंचर्स एंड द मैनेजिंग एंड अदर द क्रॉप विद रेफरेंस टू द रानी की वाव एंड कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट रानी वाव किसके रिस्पेक्ट में होती है इट इज़ द ओनली एंड द स्टेबियन एंड टू बी एंड द डिक्लेयर्ड करती है एज द यूएनएस्को वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट इट इज लोकेटेड ऑन द बैंक ऑफ द सरस्वती रिवर रानी की वाव इज एंड द एक्सेप्शनल एंड द एग्जाम्पल होती है ऑफ अदर डिस्ट्रिक्टिव फॉर्म्स ऑफ द सोवेरियन वाटर का होती है आर्टिफिशियल आर्किटेक्चरल ऑफ द इंडियन एंड सब कंटिनेंट एंड द स्टेप एंड वेलन विच इज द लोकेटेड एंड ऑन एंड द बैंक्स of in the Sabarmati and river in the Patan, Gujarat and the stable in the Patan, Gujarat. Is the only and the stable and treated as the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Question number 65. Consider the following statement about the Gharial. 1, 2 and 3 it is the categorized and as other critically and the indigenous by the IUCN and the Gharials and will live in the clear and fresh water and the rivers and systems and Gharial and are Gharials and are and the now found only in the nation India and Nepal. It is the categorized and as and the critically indigenous and by the IUCN and Gharial and live in the clear and the freshwater river system. The species is in the now limited to and the only and the 14 and widely species. The restricted localized in the North India and the lowlanded Nepal, Madhya Pradesh top in the Gharial count. Number 66. Consider the following statement and with respect. डी होता है नाइदर वन नॉर टू इंडियन एंड द पेंगुलाइन ईएन होती है इंडिया नेपाल पाकिस्तान श्रीलंका में होती है चाइनीज एंड पेंगुलिन होती है सीआर बांग्लादेश भूटान चाइना हांगकांग इंडिया एंड लाओस एंड पीपल्स एंड डेमोक्रेटिक रिपब्लिक एंड म्यांमार नेपाल ताइवान प्रोविंस ऑफ चाइना एंड द थाईलैंड वियतनाम. क्वेश्चन नंबर 67. यूएन एंड द ह्यूमन एंड राइट काउंसिल्स resolution 30 and upon 1 and it's the 2 and the successor resolution and 34 upon 1 and the 40 and upon 1 where and the news recently it is associated with country Sri Lanka ने associate किया था Sri Lanka made and the enormous and the announcement and that it does not and the feel and bounded by the commitment and made in the 2015 UN and the human right Council resolution 30 upon 1 and 8 and the 2 and the succession and the resolution 34. Which of the following statement question number 68. So the essential of article 30 is to and the ensure करता है the equal treatment between the majority and the minority institution के लिए when it's the come and to and the right and to the appointment and the teachers के होता है in terms में लिया जाता of the law and laid down in the TMA and PI and foundation case a regulation frames रहता है and the national interest must and the necessary apply to all the institution regarding इसके लिए whether they are run by the majority and the minority institution. Consider the following statement and with respect to the International Crop Reserve Institution for the Semi-Arid and Trope ICRIN set किसके रिस्पेक्ट में होता है सी एन बोथ 1 and 2 It is the headquarter in the Hyderabad, and it was and the founder in the 1972 was a consortium and often the organization convened by the Ford and the Rockefellers and the Foundation. The International Crop and Research Institute and for the and the IEC. RICET is and the international organization which and the conduct an agriculture reserve and for the rural development and headquarters in and the Patan Cheru and the Hyderabad and the Telangana and the India and with and the savers and region and centers and the Bomko and the Mali. Tigris is concerned करता किसके रिस्पेक्ट में कंसर्न करता फूड सिक्योरिटी. The first and general assembly of the Tigris and transformings India Green and the revolution by the research and the empowers and food and the sustainable and food and the supply and the UK and the India research savers and programs and with and the began. In the 2018, the brought and over the 20 and research and the institution together. The programs and 6 and 2 the address and 4 key and the research and question and what and should and the evergreens and resolution delivers. Question number 71 with reference to the and scheme consider the following statement and B and the 2 only. The cost of the sampling and the testing and the reporting and is borne and by the state government. The SHCN is other printed and the report that other farmer and bill we and the handed and over for and the each of the his and the holding and it is will be and the contain the status and office and the soils and with respect to the 12th and parameters the cost of the samplings and the testing and the reporting is borne by the central government. It is the provided and the sum and often the state government. The term and sutras and PICN is sometimes and seen in the news and within the report. किसके reference में रहता है the systematically scientific investment of the uniqueness of poor and the indigenous Indians and cow. Sutra PI क्या होता है and the cover and following the 5 thematic area. UNESCO of indigenous cow and the prime and the product and from and the indigenous cow and for the medicines and the health and the prime and the conduct and for and the indigenous cow and for the agriculture application के लिए prime and the production and from the indigenous cow and for and the food and the nutrient के लिए prime and the production and for and the indigenous and cow and based utilized and items. The Ministry of and New and the Renewables Energy and MNRE aims रहता है to set up at the ultra and the mega renewables energy and RE Park 8 the B Gujarat and the Rajasthan. The Ministry of the New and the Renewable Energy रू रहती है MNRE and AM रहता है उसको to set up the ultra mega renewable energy को RE and the park and with other capacities of the total of the 50 GW in the Gujarat and Rajasthan. The initiative one could be the one and off and the target largest renewable energy investment programs in the world. Question number 74. International the 2019 framework cover and which of the following 6 sectors? Siriti 1, 2 and 4, 6 and labor and then employment, education and the 4 local governments and utilized in 6 and the environment. National E-Government Services Delivery Assessment and NE and the SDN 2019 ranking and where the release करती by the Department of the Administrative Reform and the Public and the Greeniness. It is the 10 and 4 and the 4 categories unite Union and the territories and the 7 and the North and the Eastern and states and the Hill and Station 11 remaining states and 18 and the Central Government Ministry. दिल्ली चंडीगढ़ दमन एमटीयू एडमिनिस्ट्रेट करती है आर द विनर्स एंड अमंग द यूनियन टेरिटरीज अक्रॉस ऑल द पैरामीटर्स. Haryana and Rajasthan are the leadings and the status and the assessment and under and the remaining and the state and the categories and comprising and 18 and state. The signatory of and the agreement and for and the bringing peace into the Afghanistan. B. The USA and the Taliban. The United States of America sign करती the agreement and for the bringing and peace into the Afghanistan with and the Tibetan in the Doha and Qatar. Following statement with respect to the Kilimanjaro and the ecotourism. Kilimanjaro ecotourism. किसके रिस्पेक्ट में रहता है? It is the part of the community and based on the convention initiative and for and the uplifted and often the local communities and promotion of the mangroves and the marine biodiversity conservations. It is under initiative by the Maharashtra and Forest Department. जो कलीन जे एंड द इको टूरिज्म इज अ पार्ट होता है ऑफ एंड द कम्युनिटी एंड द बेस्ड एंड द कंजर्वेशन इनिशिएटिव का टेकन लिया जाता है अप एंड बाय द मैंग्रोव एंड द मेराइन एंड बायोडाइवर्सिटी एंड कंजर्वेशन एंड फाउंडेशन ऑफ द महाराष्ट्र एंड फॉरेस्ट एंड डिपार्टमेंट एंड फॉर एंड द अपलिफ्टेड एंड ऑफ एंड द लोकल कम्युनिटीज एंड द promotion and the mangroves and the marine and biodiversity conservations. Question number 77. Which of the following species and is on the keystone species of the new road A वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी किसके रिस्पेक्ट में होती है? इंडियन वोल्फ के में. The Indian and the wolf is other crypto space and species and of and the European wildlife sanctuary. Question number 17. Consider the following statement. The wetland conservation and of and the management rule and 2017 removal and the backwaters and lagoons and chicks and the estuarian from and the definition of the wetland. A total of the 37 sites in the India and have been the recognition under the Ramsar conventions. India has the added and 10 and then more. 10 more wetland into the site protected and by the Ramsar convention, and with this other total and open the 37 sites in the and countries and has been the recognition under the international treaty. The 79 and the Mukto Sri and also in the Golden IET and the 21 and the 845 is other क्या होता है and the arsenics and the reassessment and rise and cultivation in the West Bengal. It is the rise and the variety and that is the resistance to the arsenics and the several studies has shown that the arsenic forms of the groundwaters and the soil and the can and enter the food and the chains and through the paddy and the new and rise and varieties and the Muktosri and also the code IET and the 21 and 845. The NLRP3 is a protein which was in the news recently. It is found in which of the following species found किया गया होता है humans and birds and mice के में. It is the found in all and often the about an species. Thank you guys. Please like, share, subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.